Impact Audio presents Justice Corrupted by Ted Cruz. Read for you by Timothy Andrés Pabon. Preface. It was every father's nightmare. Your 14-year-old daughter, your little girl, being sexually assaulted at school, in the girls' bathroom, by a boy wearing a skirt. Horrific. But in any sane environment, the consequences would have been swift. The boy would have been prosecuted, convicted, and imprisoned. The criminal justice system would have worked, if not as a deterrent, then at least as a punishment. But Loudoun County, Virginia, was no longer a sane environment. Here, a group of left-wing ideologues had taken over the local public school system, turning their town into the kind of woke experiment that was being replicated in radical school districts across the United States. When the school board got word of this horrible assault, they covered it up, refusing to prosecute the boy. Instead, they transferred him to another school, where, to the surprise of nobody rational, he assaulted yet another young girl. Why did the system fail? We know why. Because the crime was inconvenient for the prevailing political narrative. That narrative, the one that says gender doesn't exist and that children can switch between male and female at will, was more important to these zealots than the physical safety of the children in the care of Loudoun County Public Schools. Boys dressed as girls never commit sexual assaults, and they certainly don't commit them in the girls' bathroom, a place that the new leftist elite insisted should be available to anyone who identified as a girl. It didn't matter if the person in question had just begun identifying as a girl yesterday, or even if he still had a beard and male reproductive organs. The father of the first girl assaulted, a plumber named Scott Smith, was devastated and outraged. You would be too, if the same thing happened to your daughter or the daughter of someone you love. Shortly after the incident, Smith went to his daughter's school to try to make sure justice was served. When he got there, he found out that the school's principal had no intention of taking disciplinary action against the boy, or even of calling the police. This understandably outraged Smith even further. By the end of that day, the police were finally called to the school, but not to arrest the boy who had sexually violated Smith's daughter. Rather, the police were called on Scott Smith himself. The school's principal called the police, according to an excellent investigative report on the incident published in the Daily Wire, because he was making a scene about his daughter's assault. As the weeks went on, anger about various policies in Loudoun County grew. Aside from rumors about the sexual assault of Smith's daughter, parents had recently learned that much of what their children were being taught in school was absolute nonsense. During the pandemic, when Loudoun County kids were forced to learn remotely, many of their parents had peered over their shoulders to see lessons on white guilt, systemic racism, and gender studies on the screens of their iPads and laptops. During a few contentious school board meetings, many of these parents had made their concerns known, leading to several high-profile arguments in public. The next meeting, Smith learned, would be held on June 22nd. During the meeting, the school board was in full defense mode. The board members knew that parents were concerned about the school's open-door bathroom policy and the potential for sexual assaults that came with it. They also knew that these fears had been realized just a few weeks earlier when Smith's daughter had been assaulted. But as the concerned parents came to the microphone, more than 250 had signed up to speak that day, the members of the school board lied about the incident, time and time again. When Beth Bartz, a school board member who had clashed with Loudoun County parents in the past, had the chance to address these serious concerns, she dismissed them, almost mocking anyone who would be concerned about such things. "Our students do not need to be protected," she said. "They are not in danger." Turning to another member of the school board, she asked whether assaults occurred in bathrooms and locker rooms. "To my knowledge," interjected Scott Ziegler, the superintendent of Loudoun County Public Schools, "we don't have any record of assaults occurring in our restrooms." This was a lie, as Ziegler knew and had admitted in an email.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?